everyone, Queen of Flannel here. Welcome back to the channel. And welcome to the last day of December. Some of you guys are probably already into the new year, but here in New York, it is still the 31st. And so, what better way to cap off the last day of the month than with December's completed pages? And I actually have some things that I finished this month. So yeah, I thought it would be cool show you guys what I worked on. There's a couple whips in here, and I actually think a few of these might be from like the tail end of November, but I didn't show them off. And there were no videos for them, so we'll include them here. I'll start with the most recent. This is Snow Queen by Christine Carron. This was my Watercolor Wednesday video for this week, so there is a video for this one. She was done with my Daniel Smith paint palettes. There's a couple spots here that, now that I can see it a little bit better, I wish that I had gone back and fixed, but she didn't turn out too bad. I was a little scared with the skin tone on this one. I didn't have anything mixed up in my DS paints, and I didn't want to get out my my other palette, so I went for it, and it was very orange in the pan, so I was a little scared of what it was gonna look like when I actually put it to the paper, but it turned out okay. And I like the little like blue hint around the edges. I tried to do something, you know, different there in some of the shadows, and there's definitely some things that I would fix or do differently with this one, but all in all, I'm pretty happy with the way she turned out. And there's some Paul Rubens metallic watercolors in here, in some of the hair, which I don't think you guys will be able to see on the camera. And then a little bit of that sparkle right there. But yeah, so this was the most recent page that picture that I finished. So let me grab the rest of these here and move the board out of the way. Most of what I finished this month, surprise, surprise, is watercolor. So another Christine image. This is Jewel Thief, and this was done. All of my watercolor pages that are PDFs are done on Strathmore inkjet watercolor paper. It is the only thing close enough to, I mean, I can't really say it's actually a watercolor paper. It's got like the texture on it. I'm fairly certain it's probably designed more for printing things out, to give them a watercolor effect rather than painting right on them. But it behaves well. My printer, for the most part, takes the paper well. And you know, it I don't think it looks too terrible. So I've been working on portraits in skin tones off camera, and you know, started doing a little bit more of that on camera. But this was done with my Daniel Smith paints, and I believe a combination of some Winsor and Newton Cotman paints. I was working on glazing with this one. I wanted like the skin tone to peek through the sheer of her sleeve here. So I went through and did a light wash with my skin tone before I went in with the Payne's Gray over top of it. I'm really pleased with the way this one came out, especially, you know, the shadows and whatnot in the hair. So yeah, so I've got that one. You know what? Well, this was from November. There's a video for this one, but it's in the pile. So I will show this one off. This was a fall image that I did the tail end of November, and it's from Sarah Kate Couture's Etsy shop. I'll link to these below in the description box, so if you guys want to check them out, download them for yourselves. This one was also done with the Daniel Smith paints and a little bit of Dr. P.H. Martin's Bleed Proof White. This one was kind of a test of this paper. This was when I discovered that this has two different sides to it. Two different kind of like finishes to the paper. And one side takes the watercolor better than the other. And I think I actually restarted this once or twice because I wasn't happy with the way the paper was behaving. But yeah, so that's from the tail end of last month. Another Christine Carron, and I was doing some skin tone testing down at the bottom. Daniel Smith paints, and this is, what did I use for the metallics? Cosmic Shimmer for my steampunk butterflies and around the goggles, so you can kind of see that Cosmic Shimmer watercolor and a little bit down here. And I was pretty happy with this one as well. I was working more on showing color without filling the entire space, you know, preserving highlights and whites and things like that, and just really trying to be loose with my watercolor and not you know, so rigid and I have to get color everywhere, which I tend to get into that mindset when I work with pencils. But yeah, so lots of portraits. Another Christine Carron. This is Cleo. And Daniel Smith and Winsor and Newton for my skin tone, and I went super light and conservative with my skin tone on this one. I thought she looked like super pale at first, and I was gonna go back in and darken her up, but then I discovered I kind of liked the pale look, so I left it. And again with the Cosmic Shimmer for the random like accents and whatnot. And this was my first attempt at doing dark, like black gray hair. And so this was all done in varying tones of Payne's Gray, just adding more water to my paint and then building up. I very rarely use black when I watercolor. It usually ends up being the Payne's Gray, and then occasionally if I do use the black, it'd be to add to something else just to, you know, darken my values a little bit. But I very rarely use it, like to the point where I have almost contemplated taking the black out of my palette the next time I redo it. So yeah, that's all Payne's Gray. And then this one, there's a video for, and I believe this is Mariola Budek. Fairly certain that's who this image came from. So yeah, I think I only use like 2-3 colors, 4-ish on this entire image. A lot of Payne's Gray. This was one shade of green. This may have actually been sap green and quin purple mixed together to give me kind of a pine color. And then the Cosmic Shimmer watercolors for the bell and to do the little swirls on the background. So I thought this was cute. This was one of my winter watercolor Wednesday videos for this month. I'm not very good at fur and texture and things like that, especially with the watercolor. So that will be something I think in the new year that I tackle. I'd like to get better with. This one again was a watercolor Wednesday video. This is by Lenka Filinenko. Came from her Etsy shop. And how many colors did I use for this? 4-ish? 4 or 5? But this was all Daniel Smith and Cosmic Shimmer for the ornaments down here. I really like the way this one came out. And this one, there's no video for this one. I actually think I was doing this while I was watching live streams. And this one was done, this is the first image that I have finished with the museum, Carron Museum aquarels. I was messing around with them. Kind of tough to get skin tones. I'll really have to work at skin tones with the pencils, and they didn't really care for the texture on this paper. So I think for certain things, if I use those on this paper, I may end up just putting them on a palette and working with them that way. She came out kind of blotchy, but this is Bad Hair Day by Christine Carron. I like the background, the way the background turned out on this one. And I think the majority of this was like 2 different pencil colors, and then I went in with the water brush and added some detail in some areas. So that's my watercolor, my completed watercolors. Let's do this one next. So there's a flip through of this book on the channel, and I've actually completed a couple pages in this one. So my goal is to do this entire book using the Arteza Expert color pencils. I don't use them very much. I've seen people do amazing, vibrant works with them, but I find them to be, for me and the way I color, much more suited towards like a muted kind of color palette. And so I thought that they would be perfect for this book. So the goal is I'm going to do the entire book in the Arteza, with the Arteza Expert pencils. So I've actually done the first 2 pages in here, and I really like the way this turned out. I wanted to keep a painterly effects to these, similar to the cover illustrations on the storybooks, Garth Williams illustrations. I wanted to keep to this style, so I don't want anything overly bright, or anything like that. I wish that I had chosen a different color for some of this grass, but I mean, I can always go in there and touch that up. I just feel like it's a little too much. And so because I want some of the white to show through, I don't want this to be like all super blended out. I mean, the illustrations themselves are like, scratchy is not really the right word, but it's the only thing I can think of to describe it, is just very like loose. And so I don't mind that this is not completely like blended out like I would do in a Hannah Carlzon book. And so I actually finished both sides. I did this one, and then I did the log cabin, and these are super quick. This one probably took me an hour. This one I would say maybe 20, 30 30 minutes. The writing actually took more time to fill in than it did to do the image, but this will be the book that I uh if I just have like 15 minutes or so to just sit down and color and relax, this will be the book that I pick, and hopefully we'll be able to finish the whole book, and then I'll do a video and flip through the whole thing when it's completed. And if you're interested in the full flip of this, I will drop the tag in the upper corner there. So next I have my winter wreath. There is a 4-part video of this one on the channel. And this was done with the Speer Farben pencils, which I really like. They're a budget oil-based pencil, but I find them super easy to work with, and they were easy to blend. And so I was able to, knock this image out. I wanted to try out multi-part videos again, and I definitely don't think that those will be something that I do frequently for now. But that's not why we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about the art. But I'm pleased with the way this one came out. There's a couple things that if I had it to go back and do again, I would do differently, but I thought it turned out super cute. And I think about 4 30-minute sessions, and I was able to complete this. So, and then I got these over here. I was messing around trying to color Christmas ornaments, and so I was working on this again with pretty sure this was also with the Speer Farbens. They turned out more like party lanterns than they did Christmas ornaments. And I think that's all I have in... Well, I was working on this one too, but that's not very far along. Do not remember what pencils I was using for this one. And the last one I have is a whip. And I'm sharing this one because for a couple of reasons. So this is Kirby Roseanne's Imagimorphia, and this image was actually picked for me by my son. I was trying to figure out something else to color, and I knew I wanted to work with markers. And so he came in and asked if he could choose the page for me, and I said, okay, yes, but it's got to be a Kirby page because I want to use markers with it. And so he comes to me a little while later and he says, okay, here you go. Here's your page that I picked for you. And I was just kind of like, because I know I'm not the only one that, especially early Kirby, where there's a lot of these like random like doodles in shapes and things like that are just kind of like, they're kind of intimidate people. And it, when you first look at them, you're like, I don't even know how to color this. Like, do I need to, like, should I color all of these little things like different colors? Like, they're tough to tackle sometimes. And so I made the executive decision that they were all going to get colored one solid color. And I actually did pick a color palette for this one. It came from one of Sarah Renee Clark's color catalog, and then I kind of took it and ran with it from there. The base of this was all done with Tombow water-based markers, and then colored pencil for the detail work and to clean up some of the streaks from the markers. And the pencils are the Farbens. I favored the Farbens this month. And so not too much left to do. I need to go back in with the markers and do the bottom of the the wagon and the wheels, and then some more shading. And I have an idea for some detailing, final finishing touches that I want to do once I'm done with everything else. And that brings me to the background on this one. So I picked up a set of the Carron Neo Color 2s, and I have seen some really amazing tutorials and backgrounds using the Neo colors, and I figured I would give it a try. And for whatever reason, I struggled to get these to blend out. And for this, I'm not too worried about, like the harsh water lines. But this happened. If they bled through, especially that turquoise color, and I don't know if the paper in the US editions of Kirby's books is different than it is for some of the foreign editions. And a lot of the tutorials that I've watched have come from people that are elsewhere in the world, the Australia, UK, etc. And nobody that I have seen has mentioned having any issues with these bleeding through. So if you use these, if you have used them specifically in Kirby Roseanne's books and have had similar issues, or um you know if you live elsewhere outside of the US and have used them, I'm interested to hear what you guys think, because I tried these a couple different ways. I tried using them scribbled on my palette and going in with my water brush and picking them up that way. I tried in one spot just applying the pigment directly to the paper. And I noticed that this paper like drank the water, like more so than any other paper that I have used water media in. And that's not something new to me with Kirby's books. I was working on a couple pictures in one of his other books, and I was actually using my Daniel Smith paints and some of my Craft and Mo, not my push button water brushes, but my regular paint brushes. And it was like the paper was legitimately drinking the water off of my brushes. And so I tried, with this one, I tried adjusting my water, more water, less water. And when I went with more water, it was when I got the bleed through. So I'm not sure what what mistake I made, or if it's just the paper in these books. I did, in one of my Joanna Basford books, try uh a bit of a background with the Neocolor 2s, and I didn't have that issue. So maybe it's the paper, maybe it's me. Feel free to give me your tips to using the Neocolors, because I would love to improve with them, because I had a lot of fun doing this background. But I definitely don't want to ruin pages like that. So but yeah, so that's the last one that I have for you guys today. So thank you so much for watching. I appreciate all your support, And I hope that everybody has a safe New Year, New Year's Eve. Start the new year off strong. So if you enjoyed the content, please feel free to like, subscribe, hit the bell to get notified when I post additional videos. And I will see you guys in the new year. Thank you so much.